An ER doctor goes from saving lives
Immediately, I felt drugged.
to destroying one.
I felt him groping me.
And you won't believe the defense he used.
Isn't it the perfect cover-up?
Season 10 starts now.
That TED Talk, with more than 18 million views, was hosted by a prominent doctor with a seemingly perfect life. It was picture perfect. Dr. David Newman was a top emergency room physician and an accomplished author who preached about rebuilding the trust between doctors and patients. But underneath the surface, things were far from what they seemed. Newman was charged with sex abuse, targeting, drugging, and assaulting young women in the emergency room. Now, this isn't the first time we've heard about a case like this. Today, in our Dirty Doctors investigation, could a Dr. Perfect be preying on you? Joining me now is Aja. She's one of 4 women who fell victim to Dr. Newman's secret abuse. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, Dr.
I know this is difficult to recount, and I appreciate you coming on the show. When you first met Dr. Newman, what was the setting?
I met him after attending the emergency room close to where I lived.
And what had brought you to the emergency room?
Oh, I was actually having crucial pain. I thought that I was having a heart attack. Thank God I wasn't, but.
And where was the pain?
It was like a sharp pain. It kind of started from mid-back all the way down.
Mostly the shoulder and the arm?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're in there. Your first impression of Dr. Newman?
He was nice. He was friendly. He was brief. Pretty much your usual experience in the emergency room. I just figured he was a doctor. He's here to help. Pretty nice. And
as it started, did he do anything in his examinations or anything else that made you a little bit leery that something wasn't quite right?
Actually, yes. He, as I was telling you just now, I had pain on my right side. One of the red flags that I kind of go back in my head was he did a breast exam. He kind of touched the wrong breast. He was like on this side, but once again, it's like, you're just a doctor, this is a person that you immediately trust. So it was just like, wrong side. That wasn't the side. I kind of just directed his attention back over here.
So you give him a pass on that?
Right.
Now, the nurse had already given you a little bit of medication for the pain you were suffering from.
Right.
And I understand something else happened that Dr. Newman did that made you more concerned.
Exactly. And the other thing that he did was he also gave me another shot of what I believed then was morphine, but later turned out to be propofol.
Propofol?
Right.
Propofol is a powerful sedative. You may actually remember the drug because it was what Michael Jackson used to get asleep at nights. It's not usually used as a treatment for pain. And more importantly, Michael Jackson, we believe, died from that propofol. So it's sort of a dangerous thing to give in an unmonitored setting. Well, so you're given narcotics. You get another shot of something at the time you thought it was narcotics. Did that strike you as strange? Were you feeling enough pain to warrant more treatment?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, that is exactly what struck me. Immediately, I felt drugged.
With the second dose?
Yes.
And then what happened?
That things got creepy after that. I immediately, like I said, I felt like I was drugged. I went out of consciousness. I was fighting it. It was a heavy feeling. Made me feel like I was falling asleep, but at the same time, like, you have to stay up, wait a minute, hold on, what's going on? Mm-hmm. I had moments where I felt like I was trying to speak and I couldn't speak. I felt my bed moved while, during my pass out state, I felt my bed move from against the wall. And I felt him groping me. Mm. And, I heard the sound of skin rubbing, like someone is masturbating. And that went on for a few minutes and my bed moved back against the wall. I heard the doors open. Like I said, during this time, I'm in and out of consciousness. I'm trying to get up, trying to fight, this heavy sedative that I'm feeling, and I couldn't quite do it. When I did come to, I felt like you're never prepared for that. You wonder if you're imagining that. You're like, did that just happen? What just happened? I went to the restroom and I noticed I had semen in between my breasts. So that was like, yeah, this happened. It happened, and I had a decision to make. Are you going to go out there and yell and scream at someone and say, hey, did you do this to me? Because, of course, I didn't think that would go well. So I questioned myself, like, what do you do next? What are you going to do? Yeah. You can die in here, because I'm also, still fighting off this drug. I'm feeling, and then, I'm completely tired. I'm in and out of consciousness, even with my, getting up and pretending that I'm fine.
Did the nurses realize that you were overdrugged?
A nurse did come in and out the room. Actually, a few people did, and she was immediately concerned. She was like, why is she like this? Like I said, during that time, I was in and out of consciousness. I heard this. I heard a lot of people coming in and out the room, responding to my name is Aja. Are you okay? Are you okay? But I couldn't really get up. I couldn't say anything, so. So
now you got a big decision to make. You realize this is real.
Right.
This nightmare actually happened.
Right.
What did you decide to do?
I decided to tell one of the hospital staff at first, the PA. I wound up getting up the courage to tell him. He came in the room, he's like, oh, you're awake. And I'm like, yeah. The doctor that was, examining me, he actually masturbated and did this to me. And his response was nonchalant, just very, it's like, okay, so you want me to call the cops or something? And I was so taken back. I was like, wow, are you serious? Like, did you hear what I said to you? And he's like, yeah, what do you want to do? And I'm like, go get your supervisor. Because at this point I want to scream, I'm upset, I'm irate.
Of course you are, yeah.
And I'm like, go get your supervisor. And he's like, I'm confused. I'm like, what are you confused about? He's like, that was my, the person you're accusing of doing this is my supervisor.
Oh my goodness, Dr. Newman was in charge of the ER.
Yes. So at that point in time, I'm like, you know what? Give me my discharge papers. I want to go.
My shoulder doesn't hurt that much.
Right, let me get out of here. Because I'm afraid at this point, what if I fall asleep and I don't make it out of here? Yeah. Who's going to believe what I had to say at that moment? I don't have any proof of this, which is why I decided when I was leaving, take sheets, do anything I can to, defend myself, because I was still feeling the sedatives really heavy at this point in time. And I'm like, I'm not going to make it out of here, but damn it, I'm going to try.
So you do make it out of there.
I do, I make it out of there.
Courageous of you to fight this whole thing. And what do?
And I call the cops. As soon as I get away and I get home, I call the cops, and my sister, and I let everybody know what happened, and they come and they take me to the hospital. Well, another hospital, not the same hospital. And we call authorities and everything else from there.
So they took the sample?
Yes.
Of semen?
They did a rape kit.
The rape kit? Mm-hmm. And then what happened to the Dr. Newman?
He was arrested. Once he was arrested before that, and at some point in time, the DNA came back and matched,
Yes. How has this impacted you every single day since then?
You never get over something like this, You never get over it. But it's definitely made me realize that you always have to trust yourself. You have to speak up and you have to be responsible, no matter what. It's sad to say that you look at people in emergency rooms different, but I do.
Well, Dr. Newman pled guilty to 4 counts of sexual abuse. In court, his defense says that he was going through a hypomanic episode from bipolar disorder. So coming up, what our true crime panel has to say about this defense. Did an illness turn a perfect doctor into a sex fiend that drugged and abused a woman? Stay with us. We are back investigating Dr. Perfects, seemingly perfect doctors who are hiding secret sex abuse, drugging women and taking advantage of them. Acclaimed emergency room physician David Newman was arrested and convicted of drugging and sexually assaulting his patients. At a hearing, his defense said that Newman was suffering from a hypomanic episode from bipolar disorder. So here's the question. Did an illness really turn a perfect doctor into a sex fiend? Joining our true crime panel today is trial attorney Heather Hansen from Law and Crime and psychiatrist Dr. Judith Joseph. So Heather, we just heard from one of Dr. Newman's victims. It's pretty graphic what he did. He gave her propofol, which could have risked her life. He then took advantage of her. What do you make out of this bipolar disorder defense?
It's a difficult defense to make. Dr. Oz, he already pleaded, so he did his time, he did his 2 years. Now the reason for this defense is he doesn't want to have to register for as long as he might have to.
As a sex offender.
As a sex offender, exactly. He has to register for sure. But if it's level 1, it's only 20 years. And if it's level 2 or 3, it's the rest of his life. And registering might impact his ability to practice medicine, but not necessarily, which is really unfortunate. Sometimes registered sex offenders can actually practice.
Dr. Joseph, I'm stunned by that, isn't it? I mean, you think people are really vulnerable to their doctors.
Yes.
As a psychiatrist, you have insights into bipolar disorder, what motivates them. Could a perfect doctor, seemingly perfect anyway, turn into a sex fiend because of a psychiatric ailment like bipolar disorder?
So mania and hypomania are all hallmarks of bipolar disorder. And when I've treated severe bipolar episodes, there are other symptoms besides hypersexuality. You see someone with racing thoughts, they're pacing, they're highly distractible. There's no way that they can function in a high-powered hospital like this. Something is very inconsistent with this story.
Just to be clear, mania is the high part of a bipolar, so you start to think you can do everything. And hypersexuality is a part of that. But to your point, you shouldn't be able to do any of the other things you need to do to work in an ER.
Especially something as complicated as allegedly dosing such a powerful anesthetic. It does not add up.
All right, so the guy worked at a prominent New York City hospital, I mean, a reputable place. He seemed to have it all.
Yes.
How do you hide this perfect persona? How did he fool everybody?
Isn't it the perfect cover-up?
Yes.
The mask of sociopathy. And so, yeah, sociopaths can be white-collared. They can be professionals. They can be college students. And so when you take advantage of a position of power over the powerless, you are exercising your sociopathic capabilities.
Unbelievable. Thank you very much for both your advice. Let me bring back in Aja, who came forward about the abuse she suffered while sedated under Dr. Newman's care. Her lawyer, Katherine Smith, joins us now. So, Aja, when you heard this hypomanic defense, this argument that he had a psychiatric problem, what did you think?
I thought it was a joke. It's very frustrating. It's kind of sad that people get to hide behind this kind of facade, and I don't believe it, personally. But
He wrote a book about bringing patients and physicians closer together. I mean, it's ironic, right? It's the definition of trust is to make sure that your bond, your covenant with your patient is close.
right,
How do you reconcile that with the man who assaulted you?
you don't. You sit there and you kind of feel like this individual is calculated, and it's scary. It's scary. It brings a different fear to you, awareness, but I don't buy it, personally.
Dr. Newman, where is he now? Do you know?
Oh, he's free. I guess he's living his life. He's released.
Is he working?
I'm not sure.
Well, I'm glad you put your hand up. You could have gotten shot, but you saved others. So thank you for doing that. We reached out to Dr. Newman's attorney for a statement. Did not hear back in time for the taping. Katherine, what can a woman like Aja do? If she's in an emergency room, she's completely vulnerable at that point, and she's got an emergency situation, and there's a doctor that she's uncomfortable with.
Well, that's what's tough, because obviously there's nothing you can do 100% to ward against this, and it's certainly not the victim's fault. But there are certain precautions that we can take, such as if you ever feel uncomfortable in any way, asking for a chaperone to come into the room is a completely reasonable request.
Yeah.
Speaking up immediately and making a complaint, as Aja did, in most hospital environments, that is enough to warrant a full investigation. And also just knowing, while of course seeking out the medical care that you need, also knowing that just because someone wears a white coat and they have charisma does not mean that they're immune from doing bad things.
Well said. Thank you for coming forward. I wish you the best.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on new videos to live the good life.